Hey, I'm Maddie Lovell from the Inspire Foundation. As always, we're lucky to sit down with our guest speaker for tonight, who is Pete Smith. Pete, thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
What are some of the factors that can influence someone's sleep?
There are 8 cofactors of health, and those 8 cofactors all influence and impact on sleep. So there's the food that you eat, both the macro and micronutrients. There's your pH, which is probably the smallest influence of all. There's your gut health, there's exercise, there's hormonal health, there's just your happiness, and of course exercise. So they're the main drivers.
How much sleep do we actually need? You've said 8 hours, and that's sort of, if you did a Google search on it, that's the most sort of common that comes up. Some people say 7 you can survive on. Where does the science say now?
So 6.5 hours, ideally somewhere in that 7 to 9 hours, and some people will need slightly more than that, and some people can get away with slightly less. But
are people not sleeping because they don't want to, because they're too busy, because they can't? Do you think there's are there bigger problems at stake, or is it?
I think we normalise it. We get by, and people start to get into habits, and these habits go on for a long period of time, and they get used to things. They know that they're not getting great night's sleep, but they just have to get by. And everyone has this view, I think, that it will get better. Once that sleep deprivation starts to kick in, you can't catch it back up. It's not a bank. You can't go and pull it out, because there are some significant changes that happen with those deficits.
What are some of the consequences of not getting enough time and enough quality sleep?
The short-term ones are, just the obvious things of, if you had 4 or 5 nights where, you're below 6 hours a night, you'll start noticing, changes in your spatial awareness, your cognitive decision-making. You become more emotional, you become more angry. So there's a whole pile of cognitive responses and physiological responses that occur. And then on the long-term side, and this is where the risk kicks in, you increase your chances by well over 200% of picking up Alzheimer's / dementia, cardiovascular disease, impacts on fertility, certainly increases the risk around type 2 diabetes. There tends to be this model now that if you are 6.5 hours a night for over six days in a row, then the consequences start dropping in. As long as, within a week, you can get a couple of really good nights' sleep in terms of quantity and quality, then you'll negate what's just happened leading up to that for those few days.
How does a device affect someone's sleep, obviously using it before sleeping?
There's a school of thought that device use is today's smoking, because the blue light has an impact on melatonin levels. If we are looking at a blue light in that 90-minute period before we go to sleep at night, it's going to reduce our melatonin levels or our melatonin uptake by around about 50%.
We understand it's important. We know it's necessary for obviously performance and for long-term health. Can you leave us with a couple of strategies now that could help improve someone's sleep?
So the optimum time to sleep is between 10 o'clock and 6:30 a.m. And so if you can get your sleep in that period, then you're going to be a long way down the track. And then if you're not sleeping well, if you're struggling to get to sleep or stay asleep, or you're waking up at night and the brain's going wild, or you're waking up very early in the morning, you need to then just get some guidance on why that might be happening, because long term, it certainly makes a difference.
Wonderful. Pete, thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate your time.
Pleasure.